Tonight you find yourself in an ancient monastery courtyard, stone walls rising on all sides, creating a sanctuary from the world that has felt so distant, so disconnected, so impossibly far away. The night sky stretches overhead, filled with more stars than you've ever seen, more than you could count in a lifetime. And in the center of this peaceful space, beside a quiet fountain, whose gentle music is the only sound in this holy silence, Jesus sits on a worn stone bench, his white robes luminous in the starlight, and his face, oh his face, is turned toward you, as if he's been waiting all along, waiting for you to find this place, waiting for you to come home. The fountain behind him murmurs softly, its gentle trickling the only sound breaking the profound stillness, and near his feet, a small fire burns in an iron brazier, its flames providing warmth against the cool night air, casting dancing shadows on the ancient monastery walls. The scent of jasmine drifts from vines climbing the stone walls, sweet and comforting, and somehow speaking of welcome, of acceptance, of coming home after a long journey. And you realize, this place, this moment, it was prepared for you, specifically for you, for this very night, when the loneliness became too much to bear alone, when the isolation became too heavy to carry, when your soul cried out for sanctuary. He doesn't rush you, doesn't demand explanations or apologies, doesn't ask where you've been or why it took so long to find this place. He simply extends his hand, a gesture so simple yet so profound, so full of invitation and promise, an invitation to bring your lonely heart, your isolated soul, your weary spirit into his presence, where you will never, ever be alone again. The monastery walls that seem to close you in now feel like arms, holding you, protecting you, keeping you safe from the chaos and noise and endless demands of the world outside. And Jesus, Emmanuel, God with us, sits here in the center of it all, proving that his name is not just a title or a theological concept, but a promise, a reality, a truth you can touch tonight. You take a tentative step forward, then another, your feet finding their way across the ancient flagstones worn smooth by centuries of footsteps, by countless souls who have walked this courtyard, seeking the same thing you seek tonight: connection, belonging, the end of loneliness. And as you approach, Jesus' smile grows wider, warmer, more radiant, as if your coming brings him genuine joy, as if he's been longing for this moment as much as you have. He pats the stone bench beside him, wordlessly inviting you to sit, to rest, to finally stop running and searching and striving, and just be. You sink onto the bench beside him, and immediately you feel the warmth of the fire reaching your cold hands, your tired face, your weary soul. The stone beneath you is solid and real and dependable, the kind of foundation that doesn't shift or crumble, and Jesus' presence beside you radiates peace like heat from the sun. You've been searching for so long, he says quietly, his voice barely above a whisper but perfectly clear in the monastery stillness, searching for a place to belong, for someone who truly sees you, for a home that feels like safety rather than just shelter. He turns to look at you, and his eyes hold depths you cannot fathom, oceans of understanding and compassion. And tonight, you found it, not because you finally got everything right, not because you earned it or deserved it, but because this is where you've always belonged, with me, in this sacred space, held by these ancient walls, surrounded by my love. The stars overhead seem to pulse gently like a cosmic heartbeat, and the fountain continues its endless song, and the fire crackles softly in its iron brazier. And in this moment, surrounded by stone and water and flame and starlight, you feel something shift inside your chest, something hard and protective beginning to soften, something locked beginning to open, something frozen beginning to thaw. I know what brought you here tonight, Jesus continues, his hand finding yours, warm and solid and real, the loneliness that follows you like a shadow, the isolation that feels like a wall between you and everyone else, the exhausting effort of pretending you're fine when you're falling apart. I know, I've always known, and I've been waiting here, in this quiet place, for you to find your way home. You feel tears beginning to well up, hot and insistent, and Jesus doesn't look away or pretend not to notice. He simply squeezes your hand and lets you feel what you need to feel. This courtyard, he says, gesturing to the space around you with his free hand. These walls were built by people who understood what you're feeling. Monks who came here seeking refuge from a world that felt too loud, too harsh, too disconnecting. They built these walls not to keep people out, but to keep peace in, to create a space where souls could find rest, where hearts could find healing, where the lonely could find belonging. The jasmine-scented breeze stirs gently, and somewhere beyond the walls you hear the distant call of a night bird. But here everything is stillness and safety. And now you're here, Jesus says, his voice warm with welcome, not by accident, not by chance, but because your soul recognized this place, recognized me, recognized home when you finally found it. He releases your hand only to wrap his arm around your shoulders, drawing you close against his side, and you let yourself lean into him. Let yourself accept the comfort. Let yourself acknowledge how desperately you've needed this. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted. He begins to speak, his voice taking on the rhythm of ancient scripture, words that have brought comfort to lonely souls for thousands of years, and saves the crushed in spirit. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted, and saves the crushed in spirit. Near, he emphasizes the word, letting it sink deep into your consciousness. Not distant, not removed, not disconnected from your pain, but near, close, intimate, present. His arm tightens slightly around your shoulders, a physical reminder of his nearness. The Lord, the creator of all things, the one who hung these stars you see overhead, he is near to you, right now, in this moment, in this courtyard, in your loneliness. The fire pops softly, sending up a small shower of sparks that drift upward like prayers ascending, and not just near to anyone, but specifically, intentionally, lovingly near to the brokenhearted, to those whose hearts have been shattered by this world's harshness, by rejection and disappointment, by the slow erosion of hope that comes from too many lonely days. You can feel the rough texture of his robe beneath your cheek, can smell the faint scent of wood smoke and something else, something indefinable that speaks of divinity wrapped in humanity, and you realize you're crying, really crying, tears soaking into the fabric of his robe, but he doesn't pull away or seem uncomfortable. He just holds you closer and lets you release the pain you've been holding for so long. That's it, he whispers. Let it out. Let it all pour out here, where it's safe, where you're held, where you're loved exactly as you are. The monastery walls seem to lean in protectively. The stars seem to shine more gently. The fountain's song seems to become a lullaby. And in this sacred space, with Jesus' arm around you and his heartbeat steady beneath your ear, you begin to believe that maybe, just maybe, you really aren't alone anymore. I want to tell you something. Jesus says after your crying begins to subside, after your breathing steadies, about loneliness and what it really means. His voice is thoughtful, reflective, carrying the weight of someone who has experienced what he speaks of. Loneliness isn't really about being physically alone, he continues, his fingers gently smoothing your hair in a gesture of infinite tenderness. Some of the loneliest people I know are surrounded by crowds every day. Loneliness is about feeling unseen, unknown, disconnected from authentic relationship. It's about having conversations that never go beneath the surface, about smiling and nodding while your soul screams for someone to really see you, really know you, really care about what's happening in the depths of your heart. The fire crackles in agreement, as if even the flames understand this truth. And that's why you're here, he says, turning slightly so he can look into your eyes, his gaze holding yours with an intensity that should feel uncomfortable but instead feels like being truly seen for the first time in your life. Because your soul recognized that I see you, all of you, not just the mask you show the world, not just the version of yourself you think is acceptable, but all of you, the loneliness, the pain, the fear, the doubt, the questions you're afraid to ask, the needs you're ashamed to have. I see all of it, and I love all of it. There is no part of you that is unknown to me, no part that is unseen, no part that is unloved. The fountain's gentle music seems to underscore his words, providing a constant reminder that in this place, with him, peace flows as endlessly as water. God settles the solitary in a home. He speaks new scripture now, new promises. He leads out the prisoners with singing. God settles the solitary in a home. He leads out the prisoners with singing. His voice wraps around the words like a blessing, like a benediction, like a promise being sealed. The solitary, he repeats slowly, those who feel alone even in crowds, those who feel like outsiders even among family, those who carry loneliness like a weight they can never put down. God settles them, not leaves them wandering, not abandons them to their isolation, but settles them, gives them a home, a place of belonging, a sanctuary like this courtyard where they can finally rest. His hand finds yours again, intertwining your fingers, connecting you physically as a reminder of spiritual connection, that cannot be broken. And he leads them out. Jesus continues, leads them out of the prison of loneliness, not with harsh commands or guilt or shame, but with singing, with joy, with celebration, because your freedom from isolation matters that much to him. Your connection matters. Your belonging matters. You matter. The stars overhead seem to shine brighter at these words, as if all of heaven affirms this truth. You sit together in silence for a long moment, and it's not an awkward silence or an empty silence. It's a full silence, a rich silence, the kind of silence that exists between people who are truly comfortable with each other, who don't need to fill every moment with words. And in this silence, you become aware of sensations you haven't noticed before. The way the cool night air carries the scent of herbs from a small garden in the corner, rosemary and lavender mixing with jasmine. The way the firelight creates patterns on the ancient stones, dancing shadows that seem to tell stories of all the souls who have found refuge here. The way Jesus' breathing is slow and steady and peaceful, and the way, slowly, gradually, your own breathing begins to match his. Feel that, he says softly, noticing the synchronization, your breath matching mine. That's what happens when you spend time in my presence, gradually, naturally, without force or effort. You begin to align with my peace, my rhythm, my rest. He shifts slightly, making sure you're comfortable, making sure the fire's warmth reaches you, making sure every detail of your comfort is attended to with care that speaks of infinite love. I want to share something with you, he says, his voice taking on a more intimate tone about what happened to me, so you know that when I say I understand your loneliness, I'm not speaking theoretically, I'm speaking from experience. The fire seems to burn more quietly, as if even the flames want to hear this story. There was a garden, not unlike this courtyard in some ways, a place I went to pray, to wrestle with what was coming, and I asked my closest friends, the ones who knew me best, who loved me most, to stay awake with me, to watch with me, to simply be present while I faced the darkest moment of my life. His voice carries a note of remembered pain, old pain, but real pain nonetheless. And they slept, he continues. They didn't mean to, they were tired, they were human, but they slept, and I was alone with my fear, alone with my dread, alone with the weight of what was coming. He pauses, and you feel his body tense slightly with the memory. And then, on the cross, even the Father turned away, had to turn away because of the sin I was carrying, your sin, everyone's sin. And I cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me? I experienced the ultimate loneliness, the worst isolation possible, complete abandonment. You look up at him, seeing tears in his eyes, and suddenly you understand. He knows, he truly knows. I tell you this, he says, his voice steadier now, not to make you feel sorry for me, but to help you understand that when I sit here with you tonight, when I tell you that you're not alone, I'm not offering cheap comfort or empty platitudes. I'm offering understanding born of experience, companionship born of having walked the same dark valley you're walking. His hand cups your face gently, his thumb wiping away your tears. And I'm also telling you that the loneliness, as real as it was, as terrible as it was, wasn't the end of the story. Because after the abandonment came resurrection, after the isolation came reunion, after the death came life, new life, eternal life. The monastery bells toll somewhere in the distance, marking the passage of time, reminding you that the world continues beyond these walls. But here time seems to stand still, to bend around this moment, to make space for healing that cannot be rushed. And that's my promise to you, Jesus says, his voice filled with authority and power. Your loneliness is real. I'm not denying that, but it's not the end of your story. Resurrection is coming. Connection is coming. Belonging is coming. Not because of anything you do or achieve or become, but because I am here. I am with you, and I will never, never leave you alone again. You feel something releasing in your chest, something that's been clenched tight for so long you forgot it was there. And as it releases, you take a deep breath, deeper than you've breathed in months, maybe years. And Jesus smiles. There it is, he says with satisfaction. There's the breath of someone who's beginning to believe they're safe, they're seen, they're loved. The fire seems to burn brighter in celebration. The stars seem to pulse with joy. The fountain's song seems to become a hymn of praise. Now, Jesus says, his tone shifting slightly, becoming more directive, more purposeful. I want you to do something for me. I want you to look around this courtyard, really look at it, and tell me what you see. You lift your head from his shoulder, your eyes adjusting to the firelight and starlight, and you begin to notice details you missed before. The stone walls are covered in centuries of prayer. Literally, you can see where countless hands have touched the stones while praying, wearing them smooth in places. The arched cloisters create shadows within shadows, depth upon depth, mystery upon mystery. Ancient wooden doors lead to rooms you cannot see, suggesting depths of refuge you have yet to discover. What do you see? Jesus prompts gently, and you find your voice. Rough from crying but present. I see walls, you begin. Old walls, strong walls. He nods encouragingly. Yes, walls that have stood for centuries. Walls that have protected countless souls seeking refuge. Walls that represent boundaries, safety, definition. These walls say, here is sanctuary, here is peace, here is home. They don't keep you prisoner, they keep you safe. His words sink deep, reframing your understanding, transforming what felt like confinement into protection. What else? He asks, and you look again. The fountain, you say, noticing how the water catches the starlight, how it never stops flowing, never runs dry. Yes, Jesus says warmly, the fountain, constant, faithful, always flowing, representing my love, my grace, my presence, that never runs out, never stops, never fails. No matter how many come to drink, no matter how much you need, it keeps flowing, endlessly, eternally. The fountain seems to bubble more joyfully at his words, as if it knows its purpose and delights in it. And the fire, you add, drawn to the flames dancing in their brazier. Tell me about the fire. Jesus encourages, and you watch the flames for a moment before speaking. It's warm. It gives light in the darkness. It's alive somehow. He squeezes your shoulder approvingly. Yes, all of that, and it represents my spirit, always burning, never going out, providing warmth when you're cold, light when you're in darkness, life when you feel dead inside. And see how I tend it, how I add wood when it's needed, how I make sure it never goes out. That's what I do with my presence in your life. I tend it, I maintain it. I make sure you're never left in cold or darkness. You sit together, the lesson sinking in. The metaphors becoming more than just words, becoming reality, becoming truth you can see and feel and know. This courtyard, Jesus says after a while, with its walls and fountain and fire and stars, it's a picture of what I offer you, what I've always offered you, what I will always offer you. Safety, constancy, warmth, wonder, belonging, home. He turns to face you more fully, both his hands holding yours now, his eyes intense with the importance of what he's about to say. And here's the most important thing, he says, his voice low and intimate. This isn't just a place you visit once. This isn't just a moment of comfort before you go back to loneliness. This courtyard, this sanctuary, this connection with me, it's always here, always available, always waiting. You can't always come to a physical courtyard, can't always escape to a literal monastery, but you can always come to me, anytime, anywhere, in any circumstance. I am your sanctuary. I am your home. I am the one who will never turn you away. The night deepens around you. The stars wheel slowly overhead. The fountain continues its endless song. The fire burns steadily in its brazier, and you rest against Jesus' side, feeling more at peace than you've felt in longer than you can remember. Rest now, he whispers, his voice becoming softer, more soothing, taking on the quality of a lullaby. Let yourself rest deeply, safely, completely. You don't have to keep watch tonight. You don't have to protect yourself. You don't have to maintain your walls. These monastery walls are protection enough. My presence is safety enough. My love is security enough. Your eyes grow heavy, the exhaustion of carrying loneliness for so long, finally catching up with you, and Jesus adjusts his position, making himself more comfortable, making sure you're supported and secure. Sleep if you need to, he says gently. I'll keep watch. I'll tend the fire. I'll make sure you're safe through the night. And it's such a relief, such a profound, overwhelming relief, to let someone else be responsible, to let someone else stand guard, to trust that you can rest, and nothing will harm you. As you drift towards sleep, you hear his voice continuing, soft and rhythmic, speaking scripture like a blessing, like a prayer, like a promise being sealed over your life. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. God settles the solitary in a home. He leads out the prisoners with singing. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You will never be alone. I am here. I am here. I am here. The words follow you down into sleep, wrapping around your dreams, becoming part of your subconscious, planting truth in soil where it can take root and grow. In the depths of your sleep, In that place where consciousness gives way to something deeper, you become aware of Jesus speaking still, his voice a constant presence, a thread connecting waking to sleeping, earth to heaven, loneliness to belonging. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. The words penetrate your dreams, becoming part of them, transforming them from scattered images into coherent truth. He will cover you with his feathers, his voice continues, gentle as a whisper, powerful as thunder, like a mother bird, gathering her chicks under her wings when danger approaches, like an eagle sheltering its young from the storm. God covers you, protects you, shields you from harm, and even in sleep, you can almost feel it, those invisible wings wrapping around you, creating a shelter within the shelter of the courtyard, a protection within the protection of the monastery walls. The fire crackles softly, a companion keeping watch through the night, and Jesus tends it carefully, making sure the warmth never fades, making sure the light never goes out. Under his wings you will find refuge. He speaks the promise again, letting it sink deeper. Refuge, sanctuary, a safe place where you don't have to pretend, where you don't have to perform, where you can bring all of yourself, the broken parts, the lonely parts, the parts you're ashamed of, the parts you try to hide, and know that you will not be rejected, not be turned away, not be told you're too much or not enough. Your sleeping form shifts slightly, seeking more comfort, and Jesus adjusts immediately, making sure you're supported, making sure you're warm, making sure every need is met before you're even aware of having it. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart, he continues, his voice steady as bedrock. When doubts come, when fears arise, when loneliness tries to whisper its lies again, his faithfulness stands between you and those attacks, defending you, protecting you, shielding you from their power to wound and destroy. The monastery walls stand silent watch, ancient stones that have witnessed countless nights like this, countless souls finding refuge, countless lonely hearts discovering they're not alone after all. And somewhere in your sleeping consciousness, you understand that you're part of a great company, a vast multitude of those who have come to this place, who have found this person, who have discovered that loneliness doesn't have the final word. I want you to know something. Jesus says, though you're asleep, though your conscious mind cannot hear, he speaks to your spirit, to that part of you that never sleeps, about the loneliness you've been carrying, about what it's done to you, and about what I'm going to do with it. The fire pops, sending sparks upward, and the stars seem to lean in closer to hear. Loneliness has told you lies, he says, his voice sad but not defeated, grieved but not hopeless. It's told you that you're not worth knowing, not worth loving, not worth the effort it would take for someone to truly see you, and you've believed those lies, not because you're weak or foolish, but because loneliness is a skilled liar, and when you hear something often enough, when you feel something deeply enough, it begins to feel like truth, even when it's the furthest thing from it. His hand rests on your shoulder, steady and warm, a physical anchor in a world that often feels untethered. But tonight, he continues, tonight you're hearing the truth, maybe for the first time, maybe for the 100th time, but this time it's finally penetrating. You are worth knowing, deeply, intimately, fully. You are worth loving, unconditionally, eternally, unfailingly. You are worth every bit of effort, every moment of attention, every ounce of care, because you are mine, because I made you, because I know every detail of who you are, and I delight in you. The fountain's song seems to crescendo at these words, as if even the water celebrates this truth, and the jasmine-scented breeze stirs the vines, releasing more fragrance, more sweetness, more evidence of beauty that exists even in darkness. And so I'm taking your loneliness, Jesus says, his voice becoming more purposeful, and I'm transforming it. I'm not erasing it as if it never happened, not pretending it didn't hurt, not minimizing the pain it's caused, but I'm redeeming it, using it, transforming it into something that can help others who hurt the way you've hurt. Your breathing deepens, your sleep becomes more peaceful, as if your spirit recognizes truth, even when your mind is at rest, because you see, he explains, the people who can comfort others most effectively, who can speak hope most powerfully, who can love most deeply, are those who have suffered, who have known pain, who have walked through valleys. Your loneliness, as painful as it's been, can become a gift you offer to others who are lonely. Your isolation, as crushing as it's felt, can become a bridge you build to reach others who feel isolated. Your pain, as real as it is, can become medicine you offer to heal others who hurt. The stars wheel slowly overhead, marking the passage of time. Though in this sacred space, time seems almost irrelevant, almost suspended, as if eternity has invaded time and made a home here. This is what I do, Jesus says, his voice full of wonder at his own work. I take what was meant to destroy you and I use it to strengthen you. I take what was meant to isolate you and I use it to connect you to others. I take what the enemy meant for evil and I work it for good. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is my nature and my delight. As the night deepens, as the darkness becomes more complete, the fire becomes even more important. Its light pushing back the shadows, its warmth defying the cold, and Jesus adds more wood, building up the flames. This fire, he says, though you're sleeping, though your conscious ears cannot hear, he speaks to your heart, represents my spirit in you, always burning, always warm, always giving light. And just as I tend this physical fire, making sure it never goes out, so I tend the fire of my spirit in your life, feeding it, maintaining it, making sure you're never left cold or dark or alone. The monastery bells toll again, deep and resonant, their sound carrying across the courtyard and beyond, marking another hour past, another measure of night completed. Time moves differently here, Jesus observes, his voice thoughtful, in this sacred space, this thin place where heaven and earth meet. Minutes can feel like hours, hours can feel like minutes, because you're touching something eternal, experiencing something that exists outside of time, connecting with someone who was and is and always will be. Your sleeping form nestles closer to him, seeking his warmth, his presence, his comfort, and he wraps his arm more securely around you, holding you close against his side. This is what I want for you, he whispers, not just tonight, not just in this moment, but always. I want you to feel this secure, this safe, this held. I want you to know deep in your bones, in your very DNA, that you belong to me, that you are mine, that you will never be abandoned or forsaken or left alone. The fountain continues its endless song, and Jesus listens to it for a moment before speaking again. That water, he says, has been flowing for centuries, through wars and peace, through prosperity and poverty, through seasons and generations. It has never stopped, never run dry, never failed. And that's a picture of my love for you. Constant, faithful, inexhaustible. No matter what comes, no matter what goes, no matter what changes in your life, my love keeps flowing, always, eternally, endlessly. A shooting star streaks across the sky, brief and bright and beautiful. And though your eyes are closed in sleep, Jesus sees it and smiles. Even the stars, he says, even the heavens themselves, they declare my glory. They proclaim my faithfulness. They testify to my love. Creation itself cannot help but speak of me. And if I care so much for stars that burn and fade, how much more do I care for you, made in my image, carrying my breath, precious beyond measure. The night air grows cooler, and Jesus shifts slightly, making sure you're warm enough, making sure the fire's heat reaches you, making sure every detail of your comfort is attended to with the care of infinite love. I notice everything, he says softly, every shiver, every shift, every need before you're even aware of having it. That's how attentive I am. That's how much I care. That's how present I am with you. Always, in every moment, paying attention to every detail of your life. Your dreams shift and flow, influenced by his words, his presence, his love. And in your sleeping mind you see images of home, of belonging, of being known and loved. Yes, Jesus whispers, seeing your dreams, participating in them, shaping them. Yes, this is what I'm planting in your heart. Visions of what can be, what will be, what already is, in the spiritual realm, and is becoming manifest in the physical. You belong, you are home, you are loved. This is truth, this is reality. This is the way things really are, even when feelings try to tell you differently. The monastery stands watch around you, ancient walls that have sheltered so many, that have witnessed so many transformations, so many moments when lonely souls discovered they weren't alone. And you, in your sleep, become part of that story, part of that great testimony, part of that ongoing revelation of God's faithfulness to his lonely children. There is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Jesus begins speaking new scripture, new promises, his voice taking on a different rhythm, a different cadence. There is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. He lets the words hang in the air, lets them settle over you like a blanket, like a blessing. A friend, he continues, his voice warm with affection. Not just an acquaintance, not just someone who knows your name, but a friend, someone who knows your heart, who sees your soul, who values your presence, who delights in your existence. The fire crackles its agreement, as if even the flames understand the significance of true friendship. Who sticks closer than a brother? He goes on. Brothers are connected by blood, by family, by genetics and history, but this friend is connected by choice, by love, by commitment that goes deeper than any blood tie. This friend sticks, adheres, clings, holds tight, never lets go, no matter what comes, no matter what storms arise, no matter what challenges emerge. Your hand twitches slightly in sleep, and Jesus takes it gently in his, holding it, warming it, connecting to you even in unconsciousness. I am that friend, he says clearly, speaking to your sleeping spirit, planting truth that will sprout and grow in your waking life. I am the one who sticks closer than any brother. I am the one who will never leave, will never abandon, will never decide you're too much trouble or not worth the effort. The stars continue their slow dance across the sky, ancient choreography that has played out since the beginning of time. And Jesus watches them for a moment. I set each of those stars in its place, he says, his voice filled with wonder at his own creation. I know each one by name. I understand their purpose and their path. And if I care so much for stars, for burning balls of gas, millions of miles away, how much more do I care for you, sitting here beside me, sleeping in my arms, trusting me with your vulnerable heart. The night deepens further, approaching that darkest hour before dawn, and Jesus continues his vigil, never tiring, never sleeping, always watchful, always present. This is what I do, he explains. Though you're unconscious, though you cannot hear with physical ears, he speaks to your heart. I watch, I wait, I keep vigil, while you sleep, while you rest, while you let down your guard and trust me with your safety. I am awake, I am alert, I am protecting. This is my joy, this is my delight, this is what I was made for, to love you, to care for you, to be with you always. The fountain's music seems to slow to deepen, to become more like a hymn, and the fire settles into steady burning, and the stars shine with unwavering light. And in this moment, in this sacred space, in this thin place where heaven meets earth, you are held, you are known, you are loved, and loneliness, that old enemy, that familiar companion, loses its power in the face of this overwhelming reality. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You will never be alone. The night continues its slow passage, each moment stretching into eternity, each breath a prayer, each heartbeat a reminder that you are alive, you are here, you are held, and Jesus remains beside you, his presence as constant as the stars overhead, as faithful as the fountain's song, as warm as the fire that burns without ceasing. I want to tell you more, he says, his voice soft in the darkness, about what it means to be with me, about what changes when you truly understand that you're not alone. He shifts slightly, making sure you're comfortable in your sleep, making sure his words can reach even your unconscious mind. Because loneliness, it doesn't just make you feel isolated, it changes how you see everything, how you interpret experiences, how you understand yourself and your place in the world. The fire crackles its agreement, sending up sparks that drift like prayers into the night sky. When you're lonely, Jesus continues, his voice taking on a teaching quality, you begin to believe things about yourself that aren't true. You begin to think that if you were different, better, more interesting, more valuable, then people would want to be with you. Then connection would come naturally. Then belonging would be easy. And so you start performing, pretending, hiding the parts of yourself you think make you unlovable, showing only the parts you think others will accept. Your sleeping form shifts slightly, as if your spirit recognizes this truth and responds to it. But that performing, he says gently, that pretending, that hiding, it actually creates more loneliness, because now you're not just isolated from others, you're isolated from yourself, disconnected from your own truth, your own heart, your own authentic self. And even if people accept the version of you that you're showing them, you know deep down that they don't really know you, they don't really see you, they don't really love the real you because they've never met the real you. The monastery walls seem to lean in closer, creating even more shelter, even more safety, even more permission to be completely honest, completely vulnerable, completely real. And that's why, Jesus says, his voice warming with love, that's why my presence, my love, my acceptance of you, It's so transformative, so healing, so revolutionary, because I see the real you, all of you, not just the parts you show the world, not just the acceptable version, not just the performance. I see behind the mask, beneath the surface, into the depths, and I love what I see. He pauses, letting this truth sink deep, letting it plant itself in soil where it can take root and grow. I see your loneliness, he continues, and I don't judge you for it. I see your pain, and I don't tell you to get over it. I see your fear, and I don't condemn you for it. I see your doubt, and I don't reject you because of it. I see all of it, every broken piece, every wounded part, every hidden shame, and I love you fully, completely, unconditionally, eternally. The stars wheel overhead, ancient witnesses to this moment of grace, this encounter between the divine and the human, this meeting of perfect love and imperfect heart. And when you begin to believe this, Jesus says, his voice filled with hope and promise, when you begin to receive this love, when you begin to rest in this acceptance, something shifts, something changes, something transforms deep inside you. Your breathing deepens even further, your sleep becoming more restorative, more healing, as truth does its work in your unconscious mind. You begin to relax, he observes, noting the change in your body, in your spirit. You begin to let down your guard. You begin to stop performing and start being, because when you know you're loved as you are, when you know you're accepted completely, when you know you're not alone no matter what, then you don't have to hide anymore. You don't have to pretend anymore. You don't have to exhaust yourself trying to earn something you already have. The fountain's song seems to swell, as if creation itself celebrates this truth, and the fire burns brighter, as if even the flames rejoice at this revelation. This is freedom, Jesus declares, his voice ringing with authority. This is what I came to give you. Not just forgiveness of sin, though that's part of it. Not just eternal life, though that's included, but freedom. Freedom to be yourself. Freedom to be known. Freedom to be loved exactly as you are. Freedom from the exhausting burden of trying to earn acceptance that I freely give. The night air stirs gently, carrying the scent of jasmine and lavender, herbs that have grown in this courtyard for centuries, planted by monks who understood that even smell can be prayer, even fragrance can be worship. And this freedom, Jesus continues, this liberation from performance and pretending, it doesn't just affect your relationship with me, it affects all your relationships. Because when you know you're accepted by me, when you rest in my love, when you're secure in my presence, then you can risk authentic connection with others. He looks up at the stars, countless points of light in the vast darkness. You can let people see the real you, he explains, because even if they reject you, even if they don't understand you, even if they walk away, you still have me, you still belong to me, you still rest in my love. Their acceptance or rejection doesn't define you anymore, doesn't determine your worth anymore, doesn't control your sense of belonging anymore. Because your primary acceptance comes from me, your fundamental worth comes from me, your deepest belonging is with me. Your sleeping hand twitches and Jesus takes it gently in his, holding it, warming it, connecting to you even in the depths of unconsciousness. This doesn't mean other people don't matter, he clarifies, his voice gentle but firm. It doesn't mean you don't need human connection. It doesn't mean relationships aren't important. They are. They matter deeply. I created you for community, for friendship, for love that's expressed through human touch and human words and human presence. The fire pops softly, a punctuation mark in the silence. But it does mean, he continues, that other people don't have to be everything, don't have to meet all your needs, don't have to fill all your emptiness. Because I'm here, I'm present, I'm filling you. I'm meeting needs that no human can meet. I'm providing security that no relationship can provide. I'm offering love that no person can fully give.
The monastery bells toll again, their sound carrying across the courtyard and beyond, marking time, keeping vigil, bearing witness. And paradoxically, Jesus observes, his voice thoughtful, when you stop demanding that other people fill your loneliness, when you stop putting that pressure on human relationships, when you stop looking to people to complete you or validate you or prove your worth, then those relationships actually get better, healthier, more authentic, more sustainable.
Your breathing changes slightly, becoming more rhythmic, more peaceful, as if your body and spirit are aligning with truth. Because now you're relating from fullness instead of emptiness, he explains. You're connecting from security instead of desperation. You're loving from abundance instead of need. And that changes everything. That transforms how you show up in relationships, how you interact with others, how you give and receive love. The stars continue their slow dance, and Jesus watches them for a moment before speaking again. I see this all the time, he says, his voice warm with affection. People come to me feeling desperately lonely, feeling like they need someone, anyone, to fill the void, and they think I'm going to send them a person, provide them a friend, deliver them a community, and sometimes I do, eventually. But first I need them to discover that I'm enough, that my presence is sufficient, that my love can fill what feels unfillable. He squeezes your hand gently, emphasizing his point. Not because I'm selfish, he clarifies quickly, not because I don't want you to have human connection, but because until you discover that I'm enough, until you rest in my sufficiency, until you're secure in my love, you can't receive human connection well. You can't participate in human relationship healthily. You can't love others freely because you're too busy trying to get them to fill your emptiness. The fountain's music seems to deepen, to become more like a hymn, more like a benediction. But when you know, Jesus says, his voice filled with promise, when you truly know, deep in your bones, in your very DNA, that you're not alone, that I'm with you, that my presence is constant, and my love is unfailing, then you can approach relationships differently. You can give without keeping score. You can love without demanding love in return. You can be vulnerable without being desperate. You can connect without being controlling. The night is at its deepest now, that darkest hour before dawn, when everything feels both most dangerous and most sacred, and Jesus' voice becomes even softer, even more intimate. This is what I'm doing in you tonight. He whispers, I'm establishing foundation. I'm planting truth. I'm building security that cannot be shaken, not so you'll be isolated, not so you'll withdraw from relationship, but so you'll be equipped for relationship, so you'll be ready for connection, so you'll be able to love and be loved in healthy, sustainable ways. Your sleeping form seems to sink deeper into rest, deeper into peace, deeper into that place where healing happens and transformation takes root. And tomorrow, Jesus says, speaking into your future, and all the tomorrows after that, you'll begin to see the fruit of this night. You'll notice that you relate to people differently, that you're less desperate for their approval, less devastated by their rejection, less controlled by their opinion, not because you don't care about them, but because you're secure in something deeper, something truer, something that cannot be taken away. The fire burns steadily, faithfully, its light pushing back the darkness, its heat defying the cold, and Jesus tends it with careful attention. Just like this fire, he observes, my spirit in you burns constantly, always warm, always bright, always pushing back the darkness of loneliness, always defying the cold of isolation, and I tend it carefully. I don't let it go out. I don't let it fade. I'm always adding fuel, always providing what it needs to keep burning. The monastery stands silent and strong, ancient stones that have sheltered countless souls, walls that have witnessed countless transformations, space that has held countless encounters between the divine and the human. And just like these walls, Jesus adds, my presence surrounds you, protects you, holds you safe. These walls don't move, don't change, don't fail, and neither do I. I am constant, I am faithful, I am unchanging, I am here, I am here, I am here. Your dreams shift and flow, influenced by his words, shaped by his presence, transformed by his love. And in your sleeping mind you see images that speak of security, of belonging, of being found rather than lost, of being held rather than abandoned, of being loved rather than rejected. Yes, Jesus whispers, seeing your dreams, participating in them, shaping them toward truth. Yes, this is what I'm planting in you. Visions of reality, images of truth, pictures of what is and what will be. The night continues, time passing, and yet somehow standing still, moments stretching into eternity, while eternity compresses into moments, and through it all, Jesus remains, constant as the North Star, faithful as the sunrise, present as the air you breathe. I will never leave you, he says again, repeating the promise, because repetition plants it deeper, drives it further, establishes it more firmly. I will never forsake you. I will never abandon you. I will never decide you're too much trouble or not worth the effort. I am with you, always, eternally, unchangingly, with you. The fire burns lower now, settling into coals that glow with steady heat. And Jesus adds more wood with practiced care, building it back up, making sure the warmth continues, making sure the light remains. This is my promise to you, he says as he works. Not just comfort for one night, not just relief for this moment, but constant presence, unfailing love, eternal companionship. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is my nature, and my joy, and my commitment to you. And as the night slowly, gradually, inevitably moves toward morning, as the darkest hour gives way to the first hints of coming light, Jesus continues his vigil, continues his watch, continues speaking truth into your sleeping soul, planting seeds that will grow, establishing foundations that will hold, building security that will last, not just for this night, not just for tomorrow, but for all your days, for all your nights, for all your life, forever and ever and ever. Amen. As the deepest part of night gives way to the first hints of coming dawn, as the darkness begins to thin at the eastern horizon, Jesus shifts slightly, careful not to wake you, but adjusting to see the sky better. Watch this, he whispers, though you're sleeping. Watch how the darkness doesn't disappear all at once, but gradually gives way to light. That's how healing happens. That's how transformation works. Not all at once, not instantly, but gradually, progressively, surely, as inevitable as dawn after night. The stars begin to fade, not vanishing, but becoming invisible, as greater light approaches, and the quality of darkness changes, becoming less absolute, less complete. This is what I'm doing in your life, Jesus says, his voice full of promise, bringing light, pushing back darkness, transforming night into day, and the darkness has to give way, not because it wants to, but because light is more powerful, light is more real, light is what was always meant to be. Your breathing changes slightly, becoming less deep, less slow, as your body prepares to wake, and Jesus notices immediately, there you are. He says softly, coming back to consciousness, returning from the depths of rest. And the first thing I want you to know as you wake, the first truth I want in your mind, as awareness returns, is this. I am still here. I did not leave while you slept. I will not leave now that you wake. I am here always, eternally, unchangingly here. Your eyes flutter once, twice, then slowly open, and the first thing you see is his face, still watching over you, still present, still smiling with that warmth that speaks of genuine delight in your existence. Good morning, he says gently. You slept well, you were safe, and now a new day begins. But before we talk about this new day, I want you to remember this night, this courtyard, this moment of discovering you're not alone. The sky is painted in shades of pink and gold. Now dawn's palette displayed across the heavens, and the monastery walls catch the first light, glowing as if lit from within. Look at that, Jesus says, gesturing to the illuminated stones, those walls that protected you through the night. Now they reflect the morning light, showing you that what sheltered you in darkness will also celebrate with you in light. What kept you safe when you were vulnerable will also stand with you when you're strong. This is the nature of true sanctuary, present in all seasons, faithful through all circumstances. You sit up slowly, stiff from sleeping, disoriented by the transition from sleep to waking, and Jesus steadies you with a hand on your shoulder. Take your time, he says, his voice patient. There's no rush, no pressure, no need to hurry back into the demands of the day. The fire still burns, lower now, but still providing warmth, and the fountain still sings its endless song, and the stars, though fading, are still visible. See how all these elements remain, he observes. Even as day comes, they don't disappear. They're just harder to see in the greater light. That's how my presence is, sometimes more obvious, sometimes less, but always present, always real, always available. He stands, stretching slightly, then offers you his hand to help you up, and as you stand beside him, you realize something has shifted inside you, something fundamental has changed. The loneliness is still there, you can feel it, but it's different now, smaller somehow, less powerful, less defining. Do you feel it? Jesus asks, seeing the realization in your eyes, the change, the shift, the transformation that happened while you slept. You nod, unable to quite put it into words, and he smiles. That's the work of the night. That's what happens when you rest in my presence, when you let me tend the fire of your heart, when you allow me to speak truth into your sleeping spirit. The monastery courtyard is fully visible now in the growing light, and you see details you missed in the darkness. Ancient carvings on the stone pillars, worn steps leading to various doors, a small herb garden in one corner, a wooden prayer bench against one wall. This place has been here for centuries, Jesus says, his voice taking on a teaching quality, built by people who understood the need for sanctuary, who knew that souls need sacred space, who created this refuge for all who would come seeking peace. And now you've been here, you've experienced it, You've received what it offers, and you carry it with you when you leave. He turns to face you fully, both his hands on your shoulders, his eyes locked on yours with an intensity that demands attention. Listen carefully, he says, his voice serious but not stern, loving but urgent. Because this is important. What happened here tonight, this encounter, this experience, this discovery that you're not alone, it wasn't just for one night, it wasn't just temporary relief before you go back to loneliness. This was a revelation of reality. This was truth breaking through lies. This was you discovering what has always been true but what you couldn't see before. The monastery bells begin to toll, marking the hour, calling monks to morning prayer, and Jesus waits for the sound to fade before continuing. When you leave this place, when you walk out through those gates into the world, I go with you, not as a memory of a nice experience, not as a feeling that will fade, but as a living presence, as real in the marketplace as in the monastery, as present in the noise as in the silence, as close in the crowds as in the solitude. Your eyes fill with tears, not tears of sadness, but tears of relief, of release, of finally, believing that maybe, just maybe, you really aren't alone. And Jesus sees those tears and smiles. Yes, he says, you're beginning to understand, beginning to believe, beginning to know deep in your soul that this is real, that I am real, that my presence with you is not dependent on your feelings or your awareness or your worthiness, but on my nature, my character, my unchanging commitment to you. He releases your shoulders but takes your hands, holding them between his. I want to give you something before you go, he says, a promise, a covenant, a truth you can hold on to when feelings try to convince you otherwise. He takes a deep breath, and when he speaks again, his voice carries the weight of eternity, the authority of the divine, the power of absolute truth. Surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age. Surely, he emphasizes, not maybe, not possibly, not if you're good enough, or faithful enough, or deserving enough, but surely, certainly, absolutely, without question or doubt, I am with you. He pauses, letting each word land with full weight. Always, not sometimes, not when you feel it, not when you're aware of it, but always, constantly, perpetually, unendingly, whether you know it or not, whether you feel it or not, I am with you. The sun breaks fully over the horizon, flooding the courtyard with golden light, and Jesus' face seems to glow, seems to shine with a glory that belongs to another realm, to the very end of the age. He concludes, not just for today, not just for this week or this year, but to the very end, to the completion of all things, to the fulfillment of every promise, to the restoration of all creation. I am with you, I will be with you. I cannot be separated from you. Your tears flow freely now, soaking your face, dripping from your chin, and Jesus doesn't wipe them away, doesn't tell you to stop. He just stands there, holding your hands, letting you feel the full weight of this promise, this truth, this reality that changes everything. This is not just religious language, he says, his voice gentle but firm. This is not just comforting words, this is reality. This is the way things actually are. This is truth that stands whether you believe it or not, though it's so much better when you do believe it, when you receive it, when you let it change how you see yourself and your life. The fountain's song seems louder in the morning, more joyful, more celebratory, and Jesus gestures toward it. Hear that, he says, that's the sound of constant grace, endless mercy, unfailing presence. It never stops, never runs dry, never fails, and that's a picture of my love for you, my presence with you, my commitment to you. No matter what comes, no matter what goes, no matter what changes, I remain constant, faithful, present, always. He releases your hands and wraps you in a final embrace, his arms strong around you, his heartbeat steady beneath your ear. Remember this, he whispers into your hair. Remember this moment, this courtyard, this night, this truth. And when loneliness comes whispering its lies again, and it might, because feelings don't always align with truth immediately, when it comes, I want you to return here in your mind, return to this courtyard, remember this embrace, remember my promise, and speak truth out loud. I am not alone, Jesus is with me, he will never leave me, he is here right now. Speak it even when you don't feel it, speak it especially when you don't feel it, because truth is not dependent on feeling. He holds you a moment longer, then gently releases you, but doesn't step away, stays close, stays present. The world is waiting for you beyond these walls, he says, his voice warm, encouraging, waiting with all its challenges and opportunities, its joys and sorrows, its connections and disconnections, and I'm sending you back into it. Not alone, never alone, but with me, in me, surrounded by me, held by my presence that cannot be shaken by circumstances or diminished by time. The monastery gates stand open, inviting, not imprisoning, but releasing, not keeping you in, but sending you out. Go now, Jesus says, his smile bright as the morning sun. Go into your life, go into your world, go into your calling and your purpose, but go knowing that you never go alone. I am with you, always, to the very end of the age. This is not hope, this is not wish, this is not dream, this is promise, this is covenant, this is reality that cannot be changed or undone. You take a step toward the gate, then look back, and he's still there, still watching, still smiling, and somehow you know that even when you can't see him with physical eyes, he will still be there, still watching, still present, still loving you with a love that will never end. I love you, he calls out, his voice carrying across the courtyard. I love you beyond measure, beyond understanding, beyond expression, and nothing in all creation can separate you from that love. Remember this, remember me, remember that you are not alone, you have never been alone, you will never be alone, because I am with you, always. And with those words ringing in your heart, with his presence filling your soul, with his love casting out all fear and loneliness, you step through the gate, into the new day, into the waiting world, into whatever comes next. But you step differently now, changed, transformed, renewed, because you know, you truly know, that you are not alone. You have never been alone. You will never be alone. He is with you, always, to the very end of the age. The monastery stands behind you, a sanctuary you can return to anytime, not physically perhaps, but spiritually, in your heart, in your memory, in your connection to the one who met you there. And as you walk forward into your life, you carry with you the truth discovered in that sacred space, the promise spoken in that holy courtyard, the love experienced in that thin place where heaven kissed earth. You are not alone. This is not feeling. This is not fantasy. This is not wishful thinking. This is truth. This is reality. This is the way things actually are. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You will never be alone, because he is with you, because he promised, because he cannot lie, because he is faithful, because he loves you, because he is God, and he is with you, always, to the very end of the age. Walk in that truth. Rest in that reality. Live in that love. You are not alone, never alone, forever accompanied, forever known, forever loved. Amen and amen.